The Truth Teller series continues tonight. Going to talk about a guy here that we haven't touched a whole lot on recently, and that's Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. The truth about Luke Fickell at Wisconsin is it feels like it's a do-or-die year for him. He went 7-6 his first year. He went 5-7 in year 2. He went 4-8 in year 3. I don't think anyone needs to be a math major to understand the trajectory there. And it's made all the more painful when you realize Wisconsin had the most rock-steady identity in college football before that. In fact, paper popper, from 2005 to 2019, it's a pretty long time, their lowest win total was 7. Fickell's best win total has been 7 over the past 3 years. Wisconsin's worst year in that 14-year stretch was 7 wins. Also, they had 10 double-digit win seasons. I think there's a little bit more in play than just the Big Ten got rid of divisions, all due respect. And what it goes to show you is one of the ultimate truths in college football, and that is changing a program's identity is not that easy. Wisconsin had been a solid, steady-as-you-go program for a long time, and we knew 2 things about them. They were going to run the ball, and they weren't going to apologize for it, and they probably weren't going to win a national title. They were going to be very competitive. They may keep you from winning one, but they themselves weren't going to win one because the highest end potential that you need was not there. They weren't going to be offensively dynamic enough. They weren't going to be athletically dynamic enough, but man, they understood who they were. And they made no bones about it. Okay, well then Luke Fickell came along because they fired Paul Chryst because they thought that good enough is not enough. And you can't fault people. You can't fault them for having been someplace long enough where they take for granted how good they got it, and they think good is the enemy of great, and so they go hire Luke Fickell, who was killing it at Cincinnati, and they try and be great. And he thought to be great, we're going to have to change the offensive identity of this program, and we're going to have to therefore change the whole philosophy of this place. And it failed miserably. It failed. Now they find themselves in year 4 up there in the process of like a rebuild or an overhaul or a retooling, and all they're trying to do in the grand scheme of things is get back to what it always was, which is crazy, and it's the most unlikely of culprits because you would think Luke Fickell would be the last guy guilty of allowing that to happen on his watch. This is a guy that got Cincinnati to the playoffs when the playoff was only 4 teams deep, and there's no asterisk next to it. There was no auto bid for the G5 because Cincy was G5 at that point. They straight up earned their way into a 4-team college football playoff to the point where even people like me looked at it and said, yeah, this is legit. Cincinnati belongs. If I was on the committee, I'd have Cincinnati in the playoff. Hey, do me one favor right here. Look down. Are you subscribed to the channel? If you are, thank you. If you're not, please click subscribe. It helps us keep the show free and free of corporate interference. All right, that's it for me. Back to the clip. That's how good they were. They were pumping out NFL draft picks there, and it was a hard-nosed blue-collar program. And you think about a guy who's the head coach and leader of that, the architect of that, being plugged into Wisconsin, and it just makes sense. If anything, you say, uh-oh, man, Wisconsin's about to be a problem. And instead, it's become Wisconsin has a problem. It's just never saw that coming. Never saw it coming. Also, quarterback has been totally snake-bitten for them. They had Tanner Mordecai the first year, and it just wasn't anything special. But then Tyler Van Dyke came there and was hurt nearly immediately in year 2. And then they had Billy Edwards there, and he was hurt nearly immediately in year 3. And so they really haven't even had a shot. And now it's Colton Joseph's turn, who is a transfer from Old Dominion, I believe. And if you look at recruiting for them, it's gone from 22 to 27 to 63. If you look at the portal rankings, though, 12th, 63, 15. So they've got a couple of top 15 portal classes. They had a ton of churn this past year, and they just got to hope that they hit on a lot of these guys because I don't know what the magic number is that he needs there. I know they invested. I think I heard they invested a lot in trying to turn the roster over. Here's the thing. I think if Luke Fickell could apply all the knowledge he has now and go start over again at Wisconsin, he'd be fine. He'd be fine. He would not have made the offensive coordinator move he made. He wouldn't have tried to pivot nearly as hard as he did in terms of overall offensive and team philosophy, and they would be fine. But that's not the way it works. Lincoln Riley at USC is the same way. I don't know if Lincoln could take all the information at his disposal right now and take the USC job again if he'd afford Alex Grinch the opportunity to come with him. Maybe he would. My guess is that he'd think twice about it at least, but you can't go back in time. You can't go back in time. You got to make the right hires at the outset, or you're going to be hitting the reset button in year 3 and asking fan bases in the NIL era, when everyone thinks you can overturn something overnight, to have patience with you. And that's in very short supply. You know, I really had nothing creative because we don't have Indiana-specific merch in the store yet. We just put the clown nose on a shirt. That would be Indiana-specific for me, not for them. Pate State material, it's wide open. It's available for business right now. We have got new items in there. And so a lot of you need T-shirts. Everybody needs a T-shirt. Even people who don't wear them don't know this, but you need T-shirts. We got them at patestatematerial.com. A lot of meetings happening, by the way, throughout the spring for new items that will eventually make their way to the store this upcoming fall. I have listened to your suggestions about what we should have in the store that we don't have already. We're working on it. A lot of odds that I've mentioned tonight on the show, and we're not done with the show, but a lot of the things I've mentioned tonight, courtesy of FanDuel, exclusive odds provider of the show. I mean, we were locked in on San Antonio, Portland earlier. I was locked. Jesse didn't pay so much attention, but I was dialed in on Spurs Blazers. Yeah, just big NBA guy. And so, you know, believe it or not, you can go bet that at FanDuel. It's much more likely, if you're watching the show, that you're interested in Texas over under 9.5 wins. It's much more likely that you're interested in Indiana making the playoff. Or maybe if you've become an Indiana hater, maybe you're a Bryant Haynes hater and you're just going to take it out on how you bet Indiana games. Don't do that. Take it from me. Don't do that. But if you want to go ahead and do it anyway and ignore my advice, you could go do that at FanDuel right now. It's the exclusive odds provider of the show. No shortage of college football markets out there and on there already.